Hey everybody, welcome to activity 2.4. And today I'm hoping it's going to be a quick activity, but what I'd like you to do today is look back over chapters 2 through 3 of the book that we read this week and look for a quote. It could be a single sentence or it could be a paragraph that really stood out to you or that you felt like was just particularly powerful or really hit you. And it might take you a little bit to just look back through there. But this week we talked in our first lesson or second lesson of the week about literary devices and how they can be a really powerful way to communicate deep meaning and emotion to a reader. We talked about imagery, which uses all of the senses or uses extra sense language to communicate to the reader. We talked about symbolism, more on that later. We talked about repetition, how it can really emphasize or bring something out. And we talked about onomatopoeias, how it puts that sound effect right into the reader's mind. And so what I want you to do is look for one of those things, or it could just be a quote that wasn't an example of a literary device, but it still just really stood out to you. And what I'd like you to do is go into Seesaw and read that quote. You can either type it or you can record it as a video and post that in your journal. And so list the quote or read it if you're making a video, and then just take 2 or 3 sentences to explain what about that quote stood out to you. So I'll do an example of that right now. Just a quick tip for you as well. In the document that you worked on for activity 2.3, the question number 1, I actually asked you to find an example either of imagery, repetition, or onomatopoeia. So you could actually go back to that and use that answer and just develop that for this as well if you'd like to, or you can do a different quote. All right, so let me just go to Seesaw here. Scroll down, just click right here. And once it loads, go into communications, click on your journal, click on add, and then you can choose. You can either write this as a note or you can record it as a video. I'm going to go with a video. And here we go. Hi, the quote that stood out to me from chapters 2 or 3, well, there were a lot that stood out to me, but the one that I wanted to talk about for this post was the very beginning of chapter 3. And it's the very first paragraph, and it's right when Nia is getting to the water source where she gets her water. And for the past 2 chapters, she's been walking and walking, and now she finally gets there. And Linda Sue Park just does such a great job of putting this image into sound, and not into sound, into like sensory language, like feeling and visual imagery. So let me read the quote. The smudge on the horizon gained color as Nia drew nearer, changing from hazy gray to olive green. The dirt under her feet turned to mud, then sludge, until at last she was ankle deep in water. And I love that paragraph. It's so visually powerful, giving us these really, really precise colors, hazy gray, olive green. I can picture that, and I can picture how the green sort of spreads as she's walking closer and closer towards it. We can really picture what that looks like around here in New Mexico, because a lot of the desert is sort of a grayish, brownish color, but when there's water, right, when there's like a river or something, you see the green, the cottonwood trees that are growing along it. So I can sort of picture that. And then I love that sense, the sensory language, the feeling when it says the dirt under her feet turned to mud and then sludge, and then she was ankle deep in water. So I can just picture how that felt as well. So this would, in terms of a literary device, this would be a great example of imagery. So that was one quote that stood out to me. I love Linda Sue Park's writing. She is wonderful. And I just love how she really, really puts that image into your mind as a reader. All right. So while that's uploading, that is it, everybody. I'm looking forward. Oh, the last thing that I'd like you guys to do is to publish your quote to your group's blog. And so next week, everybody can come back and check out the quotes that really stood out to your group. So please publish it to the blog. And if you forget how to do that, you can ask me as well. But I'm looking forward to seeing how each one of you pulls maybe something different out from these chapters. All right, have a great day.